record-setting month I had where I did 30 deals in 30 days as a brand new real estate agent in a new state with no help whatsoever. I did it as a solo agent, and I did it using a strategy that nobody else does. That month, I made about $60,000 in commission because I get around $2,000 average per deal. At the time when I did this, I had only been doing real estate for about 2 years. I was basically a brand new agent, and I had no clue what I was doing when I got into real estate. I had to create this strategy from scratch, and I had people all around me telling me it was a bad idea, that it's never gonna work, you should focus on buyers, you should focus on sellers, and guess what? It absolutely worked, because that year I did about 250 deals. And that was in 2022. And those 250 deals netted me about $510,000 in commission. So I'm gonna tell you guys exactly how I did this so you can try to replicate my strategies and beat my record. Started doing rental deals. My very first year of doing it, it was actually 2020, and I ended up doing about 60 deals total. About 7 of those happened to actually be purchases, but I had gotten all of my buyers and my listings from my renters, which I'll explain in a little bit. So that very first year, I was kind of slacking off. I really wasn't working that hard. Honestly, I was probably only putting in about 5 hours per day. I wasn't really working the weekends. I would go and play tennis or hang out with my girlfriend, and I would turn my phone off at like 5 o'clock during the weekdays. So I wasn't really treating this as a business. That was my first mistake. Once I realized that my strategy was actually working, my girlfriend motivated me, and we had a conversation, and she basically said, get your shit together and start focusing more on your business. So I said, you know what? You're right. Let me try putting in a lot more effort. And in 2021, I did. I started working about 40, 50, 60 hours per week. And oh my God, did it work better than I could have expected. So in my second year of real estate, I did about 180 deals. Now, again, most of those were rental deals. But renting a house right now is actually cheaper than buying a house. It wasn't back in 2021, but some people can't afford it. So a lot of people have to rent. 4 out of 7 people actually end up renting a house instead of buying every single year. So if you're a real estate agent and you're thinking, well, I'm not doing a lot of business right now, if you're not working with renters, it's probably because you're ignoring over half of the market. Because when I started focusing on all those people that are renting, I made about $250,000 in commission. At that time, I actually wasn't getting to all of my leads. If you guys think about it, leads are the base of any business. I don't care what business you're in, especially if you're a real estate agent, you need leads coming in. If you don't have leads coming in, you're never gonna do any kind of business whatsoever. So getting into my record-setting year, which was 2022, I actually started getting back to every single lead every single day. I started responding to everybody. This actually worked because now I was actually growing instead of staying stagnant. You do get friends and family referrals, and you get repeat business the longer you do this. So momentum is on your side, but you need lead generation. So for me to do 30 deals in a month, that was like a snowball effect. Guys, picture a snowball at the top of a mountain, right? It starts off really, really small, but as it starts rolling down the mountain, it gets bigger and bigger. The same way in sales. For real estate agents, if you start getting to your leads and you start closing a lot of deals and helping a lot of people, you're gonna get a lot of people that are gonna say, hey, my mom needs to rent, or my father needs to rent, my brother, my sister. All these people will start coming out of the woodworks and calling you, asking you if you can find them a place to live. And it could be a purchase, a listing, or it could be a rental. Now, like I said before, this is how I get all of my purchases. It's typically either from the renters that I'm working with now that I convert over to buyers, or it's going to be my renters that I have placed into a rental home and they come back to me like a year, 6 months later, whatever it is, and say, hey, Andy, I got to rent again, or I got to buy. So if you want to grow as a real estate agent, my best advice is never stop doing lead generation. I still do rental deals to this day. I love doing them, and I'm still making about the same thing, about $2,000 per deal. So if you do the math, if you can do 30 in a month, you're going to make close to $60,000 in commission. And then what happens if you get a buyer or if you get a listing that month? Just tack it on to the 60 grand that you do. If you start following my strategy, which I'm going to explain in a second, I realized that there were real estate agents out there crushing it, doing a ton of deals. So I said, if they can do it, I can do it too. And that's the exact message I'm giving to you guys. If I can do it, you can do it too. So for my strategy, all I basically did was I took any broker advertised listings and I threw them up there on the internet, okay? I got permission from the listing agents. We have something in our MLS. It's called any broker advertise, and it says yes or it says no. If it says yes, we're allowed to advertise those properties to try to bring in a tenant for that listing agent. All we really have to do is put courtesy of the listing agent and just copy the listing. Once we do that, we'll start getting leads coming in. You could put them up on places like Facebook Marketplace. This way, tenants will see the listing and reach out to you and say, hey, is this available? Can I set up a showing? So all you have to do is say, yes, it's available. Let's set up a showing. From there, I like giving them some backup options just in case they don't like the property or just in case the owner of the property doesn't actually accept them. Maybe their credit's a little bit lower. Maybe they don't have 3 times the rent and income. So once we see the property, I'll also set them up on the MLS for backup properties if they don't actually get accepted for that property that I listed. Now, like I said before, if you don't have this in your MLS that says any broker advertise or broker advertising allowed, whatever it could say in your MLS, all you have to do is ask for permission. So just get written permission from the listing agent and ask them if you can advertise their property to try to bring them a tenant. As long as you get permission, then absolutely, you can go out there and try to find tenants for the listing agents. Most real estate agents, they don't even like doing rentals. For some reason, I have no clue why. To me, it only takes about a couple hours, maybe 1 to 4 hours max. Even if you're making $1,000 and if you do 10 in a month, that's 10 grand. And if you do a higher commission percentage like me, which is like $2,000, that's $20,000 just for doing 10 rental deals. And like I said before, I'm doing anywhere from 5 to 10 purchases every single year just off my rental strategy. It's really that simple. You're just basically advertising any broker advertised properties or getting permission from the listing agents, putting them up on like Facebook Marketplace or other sites like that, and just trying to help the tenants get into that property or find another rental property, or even convince them to buy a property if they're actually in the market to purchase. Doing that got me 30 transactions in 30 days. I would literally be working from the time I woke up in the morning until the time I went to bed. And I was not eating lunch, by the way. So that was one of my secret weapons. I was skipping lunch and I did not eat breakfast. I was doing what's called intermittent fasting, and doing that, I got a tremendous amount of energy. So I wouldn't get sluggish during the day. So I was able to work and keep up the exact same pace all throughout the day. So let me take you through a rental deal and what you actually have to do from start to finish. So you basically advertise the property once you get permission from the listing agent. A tenant is going to reach out to you and ask to see the property. You just say yes, and then you schedule a showing for that property. Once you take them through the property, ask them if they want to put an offer in. An offer is very simple and easy. It's a basic application. You're going to do a credit report, a background report, an eviction report, and a rental application. I like to use the service called Rentspree. It's rentspree.com. I'm going to drop a link in the description if you guys want to sign up for my promo code. It, in my opinion, is the best site to do rental applications. It's super intuitive. It's very easy to read and use, and it's only like $39 per application. And the best part is I can just copy and paste this application for any single property. Once you get the application done, all you got to do is collect their proof of income, which can be 3 bank statements, it can be 3 pay stubs, it can be tax returns, offer letters, whatever they can prove 3 times the rent and income, that's what you collect. After that, all you got to do is get a picture of their driver's license. From there, all I do is write up a simple contract to lease as your standard pre-offer. Now, I write up the contract based on the price that I feel is fair for the property, and then I basically put everything together in an email to the listing agent, and then I send it to them. I'll follow up with a text message just to make sure they got it. It's not as crazy as doing a purchase where you're working with a buyer and you got to get a pre-approval. You got to go and see a million different properties. You got to get an appraisal done. There's a million things that can go wrong when you're working with buyers, but for rentals, it's very simple and very easy to do them. And if you're having a problem showing a dozen different properties working with renters, go to the description below because I have a program that I created. It's called Rich with Rentals. Now, in my program, this is my secret sauce. This is the exact step-by-step and order A to Z of everything I'm doing to get all my rental deals done. There's only so much I can tell you guys in a 15-minute YouTube video, so I basically put everything in my program. Again, that's richwithrentals.com. I'm going to drop a link in the description if you guys want to check it out, or you can try and do it on your own. Now, like I said, it took me a year or two to actually build up this strategy. So if you want to skip all of that hard work and that trial and error, and just learn from me instead of spending tens of thousands of hours doing it yourself. Anyways, back to the strategy. Then you might want to put in multiple offers, and maybe you even want to do the application first. That's a very advanced strategy that I do, doing the application first, just to make sure the owners are going to accept them. And I explain all of that in depth in my program. But anyways, once you get the offer accepted, All you have to do now is sit back and wait for the final move-in. That's really it. The listing agent is going to send you over the lease agreement, so all you have to do is get that signed, and then you just have to do a deposit with your client. Now, you hold it in escrow. It's usually just first month's rent, and you basically use that for your commission. So once you do the final walkthrough, you just bring that, you take half a month, and the listing takes half a month. And then once the lease agreement's done and the deposit's done, you just do the final walkthrough. You basically walk through the property, make sure it's in the same condition it was when you did the showing. Use the first month's rent as the commission, like I said before. That's your 3 months first last security, and then the tenant gets their keys. You cash a check with your brokerage and you can move on and repeat the process. Now, when I say repeat the process, I don't mean you're gonna wait, until this deal is closed before you do more deals. You're gonna be doing this simultaneous. So as you're doing one deal, you're gonna be doing another deal and another deal and another deal and another deal. That's how I did 30 deals in a month. I didn't have a program to go to fast track it. I had to create this entire strategy from scratch. And trust me, guys, it was really difficult and it was really time consuming. So far in the 4 years I have been doing real estate for, I have done over 700 real estate transactions. Now, I do have a team. I created one last year, and now I have a YouTube channel. Like, I'm making videos for you guys right now. I'm trying to give back. But even though I have all of this going on, I still manage to do my own deals. Guys, real estate is not that hard. All you have to do is generate leads, talk to the leads to convert them to clients of yours, go and do showings, put in offers, and do walkthroughs and get paid. That's really all you have to do as a real estate agent when you're following my rental strategy. Just make sure to follow up with the clients, make sure to follow up with the listing agents, and you guys will be golden. You'll be on your way to beating my record of 30 deals in 30 days in no time. Well, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on my strategy. Let me know in the comments. Do you guys work with renters? Do you do rental deals? Do you think you can do 30 deals in a month? Do you have any more questions for me? If you do, just drop a comment below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel because I drop videos like this every single week, and I'll catch everybody in the next one. All right, that was pretty good, not bad.